So you mentioned this simulation that we run over and over might start slow. It's a slow start. So do you think how unlikely? First of all, I don't know if you think about this kind of stuff, but how unlikely is step number zero, which is the springing up, like the origin of life on Earth? And second, how unlikely is the anything interesting happening beyond that? Sort of like the start that creates all the rich complexity that we see on Earth today.
Yeah, there are people who are working on exactly that problem. From primordial soup, how do you actually get self-replicating molecules? And they are very close. With a little bit of help, you can make that happen. So of course, we know what we want, so they can set up the conditions and try out conditions that are conducive to that. For evolution to discover that took a long time. For us to recreate it probably won't take that long. And the next steps from there, I think also with some hand-holding, I think we can make that happen. But with evolution, what was really fascinating was eventually the runaway evolution of the brain that created humans and created, also other higher animals. That was something that happened really fast. And that's a big question. Is that something replicable? Is that something that can happen? And if it happens, does it go in the same direction? That is a big question to ask. Even in computational terms, I think that it's relatively possible to create an experiment where we look at the primordial soup and the first couple of steps of multicellular organisms even. But to get something as complex as the brain, we don't quite know the conditions for that and how to even get started and whether we can get this kind of runaway evolution happening.
From a detector perspective, if we're observing this evolution, what do you think is the brain? What do you think is let's say, what is intelligence? So in terms of the thing that makes humans special, we seem to be able to reason, we seem to be able to communicate, but the core of that is this something in the broad category we might call intelligence. So if you put your computer scientist hat on, is there favorite ways you like to think about that question of what is intelligence?
Well, my goal is to create agents that are intelligent.
Not to define what.
and that is a way of defining it. And that means that it's some kind of an object or a program that has limited sensory and effective capabilities interacting with the world, and then also a mechanism for making decisions. So with limited abilities like that, can it survive? Survival is the simplest goal, but you could also give it other goals. Can it multiply? Can it solve problems that you give it? And that is quite a bit less than human intelligence. Animals would be intelligent, of course, with that definition. And you might have even some other forms of life. So intelligence in that sense is a survival skill given resources that you have and using your resources so that you will stay around.